May 7, we return to Bolivia, and very soon our airplane there will begin the process of becoming a Bolivian registered airplane. So as a result, it'll no longer be flying, and then they'll be going through inspections and those kind of things, and there'll be a bunch of paperwork that needs to be done for it. And so when it becomes a Bolivian registered airplane and starts flying, I need a Bolivian pilot's license. And for our circumstances, the easiest, fastest way, probably cheapest way to get a Bolivian pilot's license is to apply for Bolivian citizenship. Because then with Bolivian citizenship, I can validate. Basically, convalidate means they issue me a Bolivian pilot's license based off of my FAA, my US pilot's license. And I can also do that with my mechanic certificate and my flight instructor certificate if I have citizenship. If I just continue with residence in Bolivia, permanent residence, in order to get a permanent Bolivian pilot's license, I would have to go through flight training again at a flight school in order to get a Bolivian pilot's license. And that would cost a lot more than applying for Bolivian citizenship and take a lot longer, and then I just have a private pilot's license. However, if I have Bolivian citizenship, I can apply for a Bolivian commercial pilot's license and a flight instructor certificate and an aircraft mechanic certificate. So we're heading to town right now to continue doing paperwork, gathering required documents and papers for applying for Bolivian citizenship. So please keep this in your prayers, that everything goes smoothly with this application. On their official list of requirements, they don't actually list everything for all circumstances. So we hope we turn in all the papers and documents that all the requirements for our particular circumstances, and that the application will go through smoothly and not be hung up. We're missing this paper or missing that, and hanging up the application for a long time. And I want to thank everybody for your prayers and support, as the applying for Bolivian citizenship is not such a cheap process, but thank you everybody, and God bless. What are we doing, Mrs. Wilson?
We're preparing to stand in line for immigration.
We're coming here to get a police report, and this is the line that wraps around the building. Actually, this is the line to get the picture taken that they put on the form. Once you stand in this line, then you have to go back there and stand in that other line over there. So they just let Helen go in and skip the line because she has James. She has a baby. You can see Helen and James going in there, but they will not let me or Timothy skip the line. Well, they won't let me skip the line. Timothy could go with her. Here's the line for the picture. It wraps around the building and then goes in the building. This is just the line for the picture that goes on the police report. There is the line to actually go in and get the police report. I don't know where the line ends. It goes around the building. I'm standing here. And so come Timothy. Come stay in line with Daddy. So this is just a very boring part of paperwork. So after waiting in line all day the other day, I got my police report, but that was a miracle that I got it that day. The police gave Helen preferential treatment. They let her jump to the front of the line because she had James. It's actually law in Bolivia that handicapped people, senior citizens, pregnant women, and women with small children can jump to the front of the line. However, they didn't let me jump to the front of the line because I didn't fit any of those categories. So I had to wait in that monstrously long line. And Helen and the boys went home and I stayed standing in line. And the police came out and they gave the little tickets to people in the line. However, I was too far down the line. They said their computerized system for generating their police reports had slowed down and the system was really slow, and they said they were only going to attend people that had the little tickets, and everybody else should come back the next day. And so that was about noon, and the office is open till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So right away a bunch of people that didn't have the tickets to get into the building left, but there were still quite a few people who just decided to stay and see they thought, what if the line finishes with the people with tickets before they close, and they they thought possibly there'd be a chance to get in that day. And so I decided to hang around and wait. I sent a message to Helen explaining what had happened, and they prayed, and I was standing there. I didn't know they prayed at the moment, but then this man came up to me. He said, "Come with me." And he said, "Here, have my ticket." The line was moving really slow, and he said, I can't continue waiting here. I have to go, but you can use my ticket to make it into the building." And he said, "Here's my spot in line. You can take my place." And he left. And there was 100 to 200 people waiting in line that didn't have tickets, that was waiting past the part of the line that people had tickets. And so out of all those people, the guy just walked up and offered to give it to me, which then allowed me to get into the building and get my police reports, instead of having to come back another day after waiting in line all day that day. And so then I learned that Timothy and Helen had kneeled down and prayed and asked God to let me get those police reports the same day, or at least make it through the line to get to them. And that was a very interesting little miracle, so that God worked so I wouldn't have to go back and spend another day standing in line. So here is my police reports I just got. This one says I have no criminal record, and this one is from the drug police saying I have no drug related criminal record. It says it right there. That's what it means. Sin antecedentes means I don't have any criminal record relating to drugs, and this one says I don't have any other criminal record in Bolivia. And a little interesting side note about the word antecedentes. I believe that word is in English as well too, because I've seen Ellen White use that word. If I hadn't learned Spanish, I wouldn't have known what that meant when I read that word in Ellen White's writings. Basically, it means your past records. So in order to use our marriage certificate, for example, in Bolivia, we had to get the notary in the county, and then we had to get this paper from the state of Georgia. Then we had to get this paper from the Department of State in Washington, D.C. That one's signed by Rex Tillerson, who's no longer the Secretary of State. And then we had to get these stickers and stamps from the Bolivian embassy. However, this is what took a long time in that paperwork process to be able to use our paperwork. However, since we've done this, it's now May 16, but since May 7, Bolivia has joined the Hague Convention, and what took months, we now can get an apostille seal, and all the expense and time that it took to get these to be able to use in Bolivia, now we can get it pretty much within a couple days. However, this is what we have, and they'll accept it here still. So this is what we're going to be using. I had to do this to my birth certificate as well too. So here I'm at the courthouse in Santa Cruz, going to pick up more papers. There's the courthouse in Santa Cruz, one of the taller buildings in Santa Cruz. I just got these papers from the courthouse. We stood in line last week to apply for these papers. These papers say that we don't have any pending legal cases against us in Bolivia. Here's the paper that says we don't have any legal cases against us. Oh, look at all this paperwork. This is just for applying for the Interpol police report. Now, with all these papers, we can go to Interpol to get a police report saying that we don't have criminal records in the other countries as well.